Good morning all of you. Today we'll start with a demonstration of hip bone. This is hip bone. Hip bone, it forms a part of the pelvic girdle. This hip bone is irregular type of bone and the other name for hip bone is the coxal bone or os innominator. Hip bone actually consists of three bones. This part is known as ilium, which is expanded. This thin bone is known as pubis and this thick bone is known as ischium. These three bones, ilium, pubis and ischium, they all three unite together by a triradiate cartilage which is Y-shaped at the level of this cavity which is known as acetabulum. I have marked this triradiate cartilage with chalk. Here you can appreciate this is the level of the triradiate cartilage. Now, how to determine the side of this bone? To determine the side of this bone, you should know the three dimension, which is superior, which is inferior, which is medial, which is lateral, which is anterior, which is posterior. So this expanded part lies superiorly and there is a foramen. This foramen is known as obturator foramen. It lies inferiorly. The second dimension is the medial lateral. This acetabulum lies on the lateral side because it forms hip joint. The head of the femur comes here and forms the hip joint. And the third dimension is the anterior posterior. This thin bone, which is known as pubis, it lies anterior to the obturator foramen and this thick bone lies posteriorly. So by keeping these 3 points in mind, we can tell the side of this bone. This bone is of right side. I repeat, obturator foramen lies inferiorly, acetabulum lies laterally and this pubis lies anteriorly, with ischium lies posteriorly. Now coming to the anatomical position. To understand the anatomical position, you should know 3 points at least. This point is known as anterior superior iliac spine and this is known as pubic tubercle. The anterior superior iliac spine and pubic tubercle, these two lie in the same coronal plane. Mind it, same coronal plane, not the same line. The second is this surface is known as symphyseal surface. This symphyseal surface lies on the medial side because it has to articulate with the symphyseal surface of the pubis of opposite side to form pubic symphysis, which type of joint? Secondary cartilaginous joint. The next point is this is ischial spine. The upper border of the ischial spine and the upper border of this pubic symphysis, they both lie in the same horizontal plane. I repeat the 3 points of anatomical position. The anterior superior iliac spine and pubic tubercle, they both should lie in the same coronal plane. Symphyseal surface of the pubis should face medially and the upper border of the ischial spine and pubic symphysis, they both should lie in the same horizontal plane. To keep this anterior superior iliac spine and pubic tubercle in one coronal plane, you can keep it on a flat surface like this. In such a way, they both should come in one coronal plane and the symphyseal surface of the pubis should face medially. Now we'll do each bone separately. This is ilium. Today we'll do ilium, its surface features and attachment. In subsequent demonstration, we'll do pubis and ischium. First of all, ilium. Ilium has two ends. This is the upper end, which is known as iliac crust, and this is the lower end, which forms the upper 2/5 part of the acetabulum. This iliac crust extends from the anterior superior iliac spine to posterior superior iliac spine. This iliac crust has a sinuous course, S-shaped course. If you see it vertically, you can appreciate it very nicely. Now, this iliac crust has a highest point. This highest point lies at the level of L3, L4 vertebra. And this morphologically, this iliac crust is divided into ventral segment, which is roughly anterior 2/3 part, and a dorsal segment, which is the posterior 1/3 part. This ventral segment has one outer lip, intermediate area and an inner lip. On the outer lip, you can appreciate one prominence. This is known as iliac tubercle. On the dorsal segment there is a ridge. This ridge divides the iliac crust into a medial slope and a lateral slope. Okay, I repeat, this is the iliac crust. Iliac crust has this point, anterior superior iliac spine. This is the posterior superior iliac spine. This has a sinuous course, S-shaped course, which is convex outwards in the anterior 2/3 part and concave outwards in the posterior 1/3 part. This is the ventral segment, this is the dorsal segment. There is an outer lip, intermediate area and an inner lip. And this is iliac tubercle. And this is the dorsal segment, medial slope and a lateral slope. The lower end I've already told, it forms the upper 2/5 part of the acetabulum and it unites with the pubis and ischium here with the triradiate cartilage. Coming to the borders, this is the anterior border. The anterior border extends from this anterior superior iliac spine to the acetabulum. This anterior superior iliac spine is very important. You can feel it in your body also. It's very important bony landmark. This anterior border, in the upper part it is notched and then there is an elevated part. This elevated part is known as anterior inferior iliac spine. So this is anterior superior iliac spine. This is anterior inferior iliac spine. And the anterior border extends from the anterior superior iliac spine to the acetabulum. The next border is the posterior border, which extends from this posterior superior iliac spine and it continues below with the posterior border of the ischium. This point is known as posterior superior iliac spine. It corresponds with the second sacral spine, and this point is known as anterior inferior iliac spine. And below there is a notch. This notch is known as greater sciatic notch. Okay. Now the third border is the medial border. This medial border extends from the iliac crust to this prominence. This prominence is known as iliopubic eminence. And this medial border forms a part of the arcuate line. The arcuate line is also known as linea terminalis. What is arcuate line? Here you can appreciate a pelvis here. This is the arcuate line formed by the medial border of the ilium. Above it is the false pelvis and below it is the true pelvis. This is the anterior border, this is the medial border and this is the posterior border, and this point is iliopubic eminence. Now coming to the surfaces, this surface is the gluteal surface. The gluteal surface is divided into 4 areas by 3 lines. This is posterior gluteal line, which extends from the iliac crust roughly 5 centimeters in front of the posterior superior iliac spine. It goes downwards just in front of this posterior inferior iliac spine. It is prominent in the upper part, but below it is not very prominent. The second is the anterior gluteal line, which extends from the iliac crust roughly 2 to 3 centimeters posterior to this anterior superior iliac spine. From here it will start, then it will take a curve and it extends downwards up to the middle of the upper margin of this greater sciatic notch. This is the anterior gluteal line. The third line is just above this anterior inferior iliac spine. This is anterior inferior iliac spine. Just above it, it runs backwards up to the apex of this greater sciatic notch. Okay, so these are the 3 gluteal lines: posterior gluteal line, anterior gluteal line and the inferior gluteal line. And below this inferior gluteal line, above the acetabulum, there is a grooved area. There is a groove. Now, coming to the next surface, this surface which lies between the anterior border and the medial border, this is known as iliac surface. The other name for this is iliac fossa. The surface between this medial border and the posterior border, this surface is known as sacropelvic surface. It is further divided into three parts. Can you appreciate this roughness? This roughened part is known as iliac tuberosity. This is iliac tuberosity. Here what we have seen is iliac tubercle. Iliac tubercle was on the iliac crust, outer lip, and here this is the iliac tuberosity. Below it there is a articular area. It is also known as auricular area because it appears like the pinna, ear pinna, and below it is the pelvic surface. This auricular surface is articular. It articulates with the sacrum. Here in the sacrum also you can appreciate the same kind of area. It articulates with the sacrum to form sacropelvic joint. It forms the sacropelvic joint, which is a plain synovial joint. And this iliac tuberosity is roughened because of the attachment of the ligaments. So sacropelvic surface has three parts: iliac tuberosity, auricular surface which is articular, and a pelvic surface. On this here, can you appreciate below this articular surface? Here there is a groove. This groove is known as preauricular sulcus. Preauricular sulcus is very important because it helps in determining the sex. It is more prominent in females. Okay. Now we have done with the surface features of the ilium. Now we will do the attachment. First of all, this point, which is anterior superior iliac spine, it gives attachment to what? It gives attachment to the inguinal ligament. Inguinal ligament extends from this anterior superior iliac spine to this pubic tubercle. This anterior superior iliac spine also give attachment to a muscle, sartorius, and then sartorius fibers extend to the upper half of this notched area of the anterior border. Now on the outer lip of the iliac crust, starting from this anterior superior iliac spine up to the iliac tubercle, there is attachment of a muscle, tensor fascia lata. From this whole extent of the outer lip of this ventral segment give attachment to a deep fascia known as fascia lata. On this, remember, fascia lata is a deep fascia, tensor fascia lata is a muscle. On this iliac tubercle, there is attachment of iliotibial tract, which is a modification of deep fascia. On the anterior 2/3 part of this outer lip, there is attachment of a muscle, external oblique muscle, which is a muscle of abdomen. In the posterior 1/3 part of this outer lip, behind this highest point of the iliac crust, there is attachment of a muscle, latissimus dorsi, which we have done already in upper lip. On the intermediate area, on the whole extent, there is attachment of a muscle, which is known as internal oblique muscle. On the inner lip, on the anterior 2/3 part, there is attachment of transverse abdominis muscle along with two fascias, fascia transversalis and fascia iliaca. In the posterior 1/3 part of this ventral segment, there is attachment of a muscle, quadratus lumborum, and around this quadratus lumborum there is a fascia, thoracolumbar fascia. On the dorsal segment, on the medial slope, there is attachment of erector spinae muscle, and on the lateral slope there is attachment of gluteus maximus muscle. I repeat, here there is attachment of sartorius and anterior inguinal ligament. Here tensor fascia lata whole extent, iliotibial tract, then there is external oblique muscle, latissimus dorsi, internal oblique muscle, and here transverse abdominis with fascia transversalis, fascia iliaca, here quadratus lumborum with thoracolumbar fascia, erector spinae muscle, and here gluteus maximus muscle. On the area between the posterior superior iliac spine and posterior inferior iliac spine, there is attachment of sacrotuberous ligament. Sacrotuberous ligament. On the anterior inferior iliac spine, there is attachment of iliofemoral ligament and straight head of rectus femoris muscle. Straight head of rectus femoris muscle also has an attachment in the lower half of the anterior border notched area. This notch has upper half and lower half. Upper half has attachment of sartorius muscle, lower half has attachment of straight head of rectus femoris muscle. So, and those fibers are also attached on the anterior inferior iliac spine. Anterior inferior iliac spine has two attachment, iliofemoral ligament and straight head of rectus femoris muscle. There is a grooved area just above the acetabulum on the gluteal surface. There is attachment of the reflected head of rectus femoris. Here is the straight head, here is the reflected head of rectus femoris muscle. Now, coming to the gluteal surface, behind this posterior gluteal line on this surface, there is attachment of gluteus maximus muscle. Between the posterior gluteal line and anterior gluteal line, there is attachment of gluteus medius muscle. In between the line and the inferior gluteal line, there is attachment of gluteus minimus muscle. I repeat, posterior to this posterior gluteal line, there is gluteus maximus. Between the posterior gluteal line and the anterior gluteal line, there is gluteus medius, and between the anterior gluteal line and inferior gluteal line, there is attachment of gluteus minimus muscle. Below this inferior gluteal line, on a grooved area, there is attachment of rectus femoris muscle. The which head? Reflected head of rectus femoris muscle. Now, coming on this surface is the iliac fossa. This iliac fossa has attachment of a muscle, iliacus muscle, on the third part of it. Coming to the sacropelvic surface, the sacropelvic surface on this iliac tuberosity, there is attachment of iliolumbar ligament, dorsal sacroiliac ligament, and most of it is covered by interosseous sacroiliac ligament. Below here, in the preauricular sulcus, there is attachment of ventral sacroiliac ligament, and lateral to it there is attachment of piriformis muscle. On this pelvic surface, there is attachment of which muscle? Obturator internus muscle. We have done with the muscle attachment. I'll just repeat it fast and then we'll see few pictures. Here, inguinal ligament, sartorius, tensor fasciae lata, iliotibial tract, and there is fascia lata, external oblique muscle, internal oblique muscle, transverse abdominis with fascia transversalis and fascia iliaca, quadratus lumborum, erector spinae muscle, then gluteus maximus, sacrotuberous ligament, then iliofemoral ligament and straight head of rectus femoris, and then is gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, gluteus minimus, reflected head of rectus femoris, iliacus muscle, iliolumbar, dorsal sacroiliac ligament, interosseous sacroiliac ligament, ventral sacroiliac ligament, piriformis, obturator internus muscle. I hope the surface features and the muscle attachments are clear. Now I will show you few pictures of hip bone in which you can appreciate the surface features and attachments on ilium. Here in this picture you can appreciate this is pelvic girdle which is formed by the two hip bones and sacrum. This point is anterior superior iliac spine, this is posterior superior iliac spine, and in between the two there is iliac crust. This is anterior inferior iliac spine and this is the greater sciatic notch, and here it is forming a joint between the sacrum and the iliac, that is sacroiliac joint. Here you can appreciate the medial border of the ilium forming a part of arcuate line. Now this is pubic symphysis. Now coming to the next picture, you can appreciate here this is anterior superior iliac spine, this is pubic tubercle, and in between the two, the green color thing, this is the inguinal ligament. Now next is, in this picture you can appreciate this, there is a Y shape, there is the triradiate cartilage, and above it this is ilium, this bone is the pubis, and this is ischium, and this cavity is the acetabulum. And here this is posterior superior iliac spine, this is posterior inferior iliac spine, this is anterior superior iliac spine, and this is anterior inferior iliac spine. and this surface is the gluteal surface, and you can appreciate the three gluteal lines. This is the posterior gluteal line, this is the anterior gluteal line, and this is the inferior gluteal line. This surface is the iliac fossa, and this surface is the sacropelvic surface, and in between the two there is the medial border, and this prominence is known as iliopubic eminence. This is the anterior border of the ilium, and this is the posterior border of the ilium. And this is iliac tuberosity, this is auricular surface, and this is the pelvic surface. Now coming on the next picture, in this you can appreciate the iliac crust from above. The outermost is known as the outer lip of the iliac crust, where there is attachment of external oblique muscle and the latissimus dorsi. On the intermediate area there is attachment of internal oblique muscle, and on the inner lip there is attachment of transversus abdominis muscle and quadratus lumborum. So next you can appreciate in this picture there is attachment of iliacus muscle on the iliac fossa in the upper 2/3 part. There is attachment of iliolumbar ligament, dorsal sacroiliac ligament, and interosseous sacroiliac ligament on the iliac tuberosity, and this area is the area where the sacrum articulates with the ilium. In this picture you can appreciate there is attachment, this is a gluteal surface, and on this there is attachment of the gluteus maximus behind the posterior gluteal line. Between the posterior gluteal line and anterior gluteal line there is attachment of the gluteus medius, and between the anterior gluteal line and inferior gluteal line there is attachment of gluteus minimus muscle, and below the inferior gluteal line on a grooved area above the acetabulum there is attachment of reflected head of rectus femoris muscle. So thank you for today. Hope you have understood it. If there is any doubt you can send me mail. Thank you so much.